Hi Virgo, happy birthday and welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your September 2025 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have from us, it's a Celtic crossword as always, and I also pulled the 4 agreements and wisdom the oracle card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling over this astrology ice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your folks should be as far as that goes. Alright, we have the North Node, and the North Node is actually in Pisces, which is your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, and contracts. And we're actually going to be entering into eclipse season in September, so there's actually going to be a full moon eclipse in Pisces along with that North Node. So could definitely be some shifting around that area of life for you guys for sure. Oh, and that's going to be around the 7th or 8th of September, I believe. We have Sagittarius. Sagittarius for you guys is 4th house of home roots family. Astrologically speaking, a little more quiet in that area of the zodiac, but yeah, you could definitely just be feeling some energy. I do see some Sagittarius energy in your main spread as well. And 1. So yeah, of course, makes sense to see 1, meaning that you guys have focus on yourselves, because of course there's going to be plenty of energy moving through your sign. Like we said, we're pretty much going to be in Virgo season until the 22nd of September. We're going to have Mercury, which is your ruler, move into your sign right at the start of the month as well. A little bit past the midpoint of the month, Venus will be moving into your sign, so definitely plenty of things going on there. And then there's actually, well, at the time of recording this, we haven't had the first new moon in your sign yet, but that's coming up on the 23rd. Then there's actually going to be a second new moon, which will be an eclipse toward the end of Virgo season, so right before the sun moves into Libra, more or less. So yeah, definitely plenty of energy moving through your sign for sure. So it makes sense to see that come up. Keep all that in mind as we go to the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Sun, and then challenging that, we have the Queen of Cups. So this is Cancer energy here, and in this context for you guys, the Sun just could just be as simple as saying that as the Sun moves into your sign, that could really be reinvigorating you guys, but seems like for whatever reason you're holding back on something. You know, maybe it's something you're holding on to for sentimental value, for example. Maybe you've just been reflecting on the past a bit. I mean, we did just have that Mercury retrograde in your 12th house, so definitely could have been some things coming up in the past during that transit. But yeah, I feel like this is saying you're being called to embrace the new to an extent this month, or at least be more lighthearted and creative in your movement. Right, in the foundation position, we have the King of Wands, so Leo energy here. So yeah, could just be pointing to, you know, us moving through Leo season, and maybe this had you in, like I was saying with the Mercury retrograde talk we just had, that maybe had you in a bit more of a reflective, introspective mood. Maybe looking back on, you know, situations that you could have handled differently. Maybe there's some regrets around that. Maybe some of you are considering maybe stepping into a more leadership role, being more vocal, right? But for whatever reason, it seems like there's a little bit of hesitation around that right now. All right. In the past position, we have the Knight of Wands, so Sagittarius energy here, which we mentioned with the dice as well. So yeah, could just be saying that in the past you might have been more adventurous, right? You might have been more outspoken. Maybe you were less hesitant. Maybe you didn't hold back as much in the past. So it looks like this is something that you've been thinking about, you know, maybe trying to see where that disconnect happened, right? To where you went from being this type of energy in the past to now being a lot more reserved and not necessarily speaking what's on your mind. In the present position, we have the Ace of Wands. So yeah, so to me, this looks like there is a desire to reconnect with that energy, right? Like I said, you know, the more outspoken, outgoing side of yourselves that for whatever reason might have been suppressed recently for whatever reason. But yeah, looks like you're at the very least thinking about embracing that energy again. In the near future position, we have the Six of Swords. So this is Aquarius energy here. So yeah, so for some of you, maybe it just became one of those things where you might have found yourselves overthinking things, right? Maybe a bit of a perfectionist type of streak. Maybe even, putting too much weight on the opinions of others to where it might have held you back from taking action, right? Because you're trying to think of every possible scenario and how it would affect everyone around you. But yeah, for some of you, this could be a work situation as far as that goes, too. In the position of your influence in a situation, we have the Fool. So yeah, so to me, this does say that you do seem like you are ready to take that leap, right? To reconnect with that side of yourselves that was more playful. Um, Tune in and tap into your creativity more. Maybe that's been tamped down for a while for whatever reason, but yeah, looks like you are actually embracing this energy and wanting to move forward. All right, in the environment position, we have the Four of Pentacles. So for some of you, this could be pointing to maybe the reason why you've been a lot more muted lately, right? So for some of you, if we just look at a super generic level, could just be saying that maybe there's things you want to do, but maybe financially you're not able to do so, right? So that could be what's holding you back currently. But I feel like it's more than that. I feel like this is saying that maybe you started to mute your own creativity in a way because you started to think of, oh, is this practical, right? So you started to overthink things like, okay, if I go this route, what are the possible outcomes? And then but viewing it through a more negative lens, right? To where it almost started to mute your creativity a little bit. And then for some of you, this could be going back to, if that's the case, you guys had Pluto in your fifth house of creativity for a long time, right? It's since moved into Aquarius, but could just be saying that maybe during that transit, that might have given you this energy of being a little bit overly controlling when it came to your creativity to the point where it really started to mute it. And now, with that transit lifting, maybe you're reconnecting with that creative side of yourselves again. In the hopes or fears position, we have temperance. So yeah, so I feel like ultimately this is saying you are hoping to find that balance, right? Of okay, yes, maybe do something that can be practical, right? But also something that brings you joy, something that does have that creative flair to it. So if we look at their foot placement, right? We have the one foot on the ground, which makes you think of the more earthly, grounded energy, like we see with the Four of Pentacles. And then the water could be more pointing to that creativity, the fluidity, right? So to me, it looks like you do ultimately want to find that balance, right? So maybe it's one of those things where as a child, you had nothing but creativity, right? It wasn't about the practicality of this, that, and the other. And then maybe as you've grown older, you've just shifted too far over toward the practicality side of things, and then the creativity got lost in the mix. Now maybe you're trying to find the balance of those two things in the present. All right. In the outcome position, we have the moon. So to see this in the outcome position to me is a positive here because, again, like we mentioned, you guys haven't had the first new moon in your sign yet, but there's also going to be a second one in your sign in September, which is rare, and it's also going to be an eclipse on top of that. And then we also mentioned with the North Node there, the fact that there's going to be a full moon eclipse in Pisces. So those are three pretty significant lunar cycles that are going to happen over the next 30 plus days. So I feel like this is saying that, if you are a little unsure of which way to go around the situation, pay attention to those specific lunar cycles to give you some guidance. All right, and bottom of the deck, we have the Star. So yeah, so this could just be maybe just releasing some things, that you've held in for a long time. So if you look at that Queen of Cups energy, that cup is closed off. And it's really the only cup in the cup suit that is that way. All right, I don't know why I won't focus right now, but there we go. So it's the only one that's closed off. Very nice cup, right? So there's something valuable in there, I'm sure, but for whatever reason, you might have just held that back for a long time, and now this could be the month where you're just really releasing a lot of that. And understanding that it will come back to you, right? So a long time ago, I used to mention this when I'd see the Star card, but it seems on the surface kind of odd, right? That there's plenty of water there, but it looks like they're pouring water into that source again. And given that this is the major arcana card for Aquarius, I was saying that ultimately that does represent their understanding, right? That, if you just take, there'll be nothing left, right? So that Aquarian energy is an energy of giving back. So um, that's what I see with that. But yeah, hopefully that resonated. All right. And moving on to the four agreements, we have always do your best. And it says do your best because you want to. All right. It says you do your best when you are enjoying the action or doing it in a way that will not have negative repercussions for you. You do your best because you want to do it, not because you have to do it. Not because you are trying to please the judge, and not because you are trying to please other people. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there because, like I was saying, maybe at a certain point in your lives you were very creative, and then, like I said, maybe as you got older, you start to think of, oh, well, is this practical, right? Is this something that I could benefit from financially, right? Things along those lines there, and maybe you start to put too much weight into that, and then in the process, that might have muted a lot of your creativity. So hopefully that resonated. All right, and from the Wisdom Oracle, we have blessed. There's the artwork, and the number is 22. So we'll see what this has to say. All right, essential meanings says something wonderful that is unearned and unexpected, grace that is an unforeseen gift from spirit. The oracle's message: there are moments in life when out of the blue it seems that everything has been orchestrated by divine intervention. You feel blessed in ways that are difficult to express. It's as if the Red Sea parts in front of you and events come together to banish your troubles easily and naturally. You know deep down you did not deserve any of it, and yet here you are. This is one of those times. Let awe and gratitude for all your blessings guide you now. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there because, like we did mention, just the lunar cycles alone, this is going to be a pretty powerful period for you guys. So hopefully that resonated. The relationship message says you are moving toward a deepening of intimacy and a unique and sacred partnership. You know you are meant to make this connection. This union, blessed by the divine, will bring transformation and beauty to the world. This is also a sign that, even more important, you're being called to a deeper intimacy with yourself and spirit. With this new development, you will see evidence of grace in your life. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, right? Because like I said, it seems like there's this theme of reconnecting with your more like creative, playful side, maybe a side of you that might have been lost over the years, but now you're feeling that desire to reconnect with that. All right, the prosperity message says unexpected windfalls and good fortune come your way now. You're in a phase where any difficulties or obstacles that have stymied your success seem to disappear on their own. Be ready to receive. The windows of opportunity will open wide. Accept the blessings given to you now and don't forget to share them. So, yeah, definitely an interesting message there. But yeah, like I said, there's definitely some powerful astrological energies, more so than usual, right? I mean, anytime you enter into the Virgo season, there's going to be some energy moving through your sign. But this is a pretty significant month, astrologically speaking, and reading these messages, it looks like overall that might be something that you guys will actually see play out this month. So once again, happy birthday. Hopefully that resonated with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.